Today in Alabama.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Tametria Conner. Thanks for joining us for WSFA 12 News Today in Alabama Sunday Special Edition. This morning's headlines are coming up, but first, meteorologist Jeff Jumper is tracking your morning forecast. Good morning, Jeff. That breeze that I felt this morning felt so good.
Yeah, nice cool breeze out there, and as you woke up in the early morning hours, for those of you that got up around sunrise, around 6 o'clock this morning, plenty of sunshine out there, but quickly the clouds are filtering in, and some of those clouds producing rain in parts of our area. But we'll show you that in just a moment. Let's take a look at some of those winds outside right now. Already this morning at 9 o'clock, we're seeing winds about 10 to 15 miles per hour, generally out of the east to northeast, all in ahead of a low pressure system that is developing down in the tropics. Here's a look at our local current temperatures outside. We are at 68 in Montgomery, 57 in Alexander City, 67 in Eufaula, Dothan at 66 degrees, and Troy sitting at 67 degrees. Here are those clouds squeezing in. You can see for the most part a good chunk of our area from east of Interstate 65 are seeing clouds in some spots, already picking up on some very, very light rain showers, including Alex City and places like Eufaula down into portions of Henry County north of Dothan. So we'll take a closer look at that coming up in just a few moments, but let's get you to the planner right now. Midday about noon, 76 degrees, by afternoon 79, and then by 8 o'clock tonight, about 70 degrees. At any point in time, especially in our eastern counties, you may see a lingering light shower around as we go through these morning and afternoon and evening hours. But I think our widespread rain holds off until we start the work week. Details on that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Tametria?
Thanks, Jeff. Well, topping our news this morning, more than 200,000 people are expected to walk through the gates of the Alabama National Fair, bringing with them about $300,000 for local charities. That's the main mission of the fair, but why do people really make their way to the Midway? WSFA 12 News reporter Bethany Wells set out to find those answers.
Food and fun.
It's awesome. It's pretty awesome.
That's what the fair is all about.
I don't know, just for the thrill.
The fair offers all the run-of-the-mill menu items.
We have some rib tips, we have pulled pork, we have wing quarters, whole chicken, sweet potato tots, fries, ribs, and brisket, and right there on the grill we have the famous turkey legs.
But that's not what most people eat on the Midway.
And what have you sold the most of?
The turkey legs, and they are $9 this year.
It's rare to find. This is pretty much the only place you can find it.
And then there are the rides.
Been in Himalayas, Skyrider, Twister.
My favorite one is that ship. It goes straight up and you get to see people just look crazy.
The one thing I've noticed about rides at the fair, everything either goes around in a circle, upside down, or high up in the air. So if you decide to eat before you ride, you're doing it at your own risk. Does that make you sick?
No, not really. I got sick in the Twister and that was it.
But a little queasiness doesn't stop the crowds from coming out.
The night crowd, ooh, that's a whopper.
Bethany Wells, WSFA 12 News, Montgomery.
In case you missed it this weekend, the Alabama National Fair runs all the way through next weekend. Well, over in Autauga County, residents in that area got a chance to experience all the good food and rides in their own local fair. Tons of people turned out to enjoy all the fun, and they were glad they did.
Well, I've been going on a lot of these rides. They're really awesome. Some of them I think I've gone on a lot. Some of these rides are like out insane. They're like, some of them go loop-de-loop. Some of them like, it's wow, like amazing.
Yesterday was the final night of the Autauga County Fair, and festivities wrapped up around 10 p.m. A Montgomery neighborhood is keeping a close watch on their dogs. That's because many residents say they've been stolen. People in the Carriage Hill subdivision off the East Boulevard say dog theft has been an ongoing problem there. One woman says 2 of her dogs were stolen a couple of weeks ago, and one of them belonged to her son, who is currently serving overseas in the Navy.
He's very disappointed. Every time we talk to him, he said that he went on the Craigslist. He's been looking on the computer to see if anyone has a Dachshund out there for sale or a pug that looks just like his dogs.
Montgomery police say they're also working a case in that neighborhood where someone stole 5 pit bull puppies. They tell us they are increasing patrols in that area. Well, turning now to Decision 2012, the results are in. GOP presidential candidates Ron Paul and Herman Cain accounted for 60% of the votes at a Christian conservative straw poll. But some controversial comments at that event put the spotlight on one GOP contender. Shelby Lynn has the details along the campaign trail for Decision 2012.
A showdown at the Values Voter Summit. Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney's speech was highly anticipated following comments from Pastor Robert Jeffress. The Texas pastor says Christians should not vote for Romney because he's Mormon. Romney threw a few small punches.
Our government must respect religious values, not silence them. We will always pledge our allegiance to a nation that is under God.
Romney did stand by his faith, taking aim at another speaker at the summit, conservative leader Brian Fisher, who has publicly criticized Mormonism.
We should remember that decency and civility are values too. One of the speakers who will follow me today has crossed that line, I think. Poisonous language doesn't advance our cause.
Several of the GOP hopefuls spoke at the annual political conference, and religion wasn't the only topic on the table. The candidates tackled other major issues like unemployment and the economy. One thing they all agreed on, it's time for a new commander-in-chief.
We were on the right track at one time. Let's get back on that track. Let's restore liberty to this country and prosperity and peace.
If you will be with me, together, we will decisively defeat Barack Obama, and over the next few years, we will decisively reclaim America as the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you.
I'm Shelby Lynn reporting.
Ron Paul typically fares well in straw polls because his supporters flock to the events to give him wins. Yet Paul trails other better-known candidates such as Perry and Romney in traditional polls. Well, the economy, taxes, and unemployment are still on many people's minds. In this morning's Meet the Press, President Obama's former Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel, discussed his thoughts on those issues and President Obama's re-election outlook. Just 5 months into his term as Chicago mayor, Emanuel says there are still government remedies left to resolve this economy and rebuild America.
Have them rebuild our schools, have them rebuild our roads, because we have a 21st century economy sitting on a 20th century infrastructure. And that should be the reinvention engine, like NASA was, like the internet was at different moments in time. And we will be a stronger, more productive economy.
Nationwide, the unemployment rate remains at 9.1%. Well, the progress continues along the road to recovery as one neighborhood receives some much-needed help to rebuild after these April tornadoes. And the death toll from those tornadoes goes up again as another victim dies. More on this story after the break. You are looking at a live picture of Interstate 85, and the traffic looks clear as you head out to work or church this morning. And Jeff, the wind is kind of blowing out there. You can see it shaking the camera.
Yeah, winds are going to be kind of kicking around over the next couple of days. We're watching a low-pressure system developing in the Gulf, kind of in the Caribbean, straddling Florida. This one not really a tropical low, but it is kind of pulling on some of that moisture. So we're getting the winds now. Those will blow in the cloud cover, and then they'll eventually blow in some showers around as we head through the next couple of days. Some spots already seeing those showers, though. And one of
Sad news along the road to recovery. A tornado survivor was killed when his truck plunged into a ravine. 65-year-old James Kenneth Howard, senior of Phil Campbell, was moving into a new home when he lost control of the truck and trailer he was driving. It happened about 10 miles south of Russellville. He was pronounced dead on the scene. He died the day before what would have been his birthday. Well, on a good note, some of the best architects in the country are working to jumpstart construction in a neighborhood in Birmingham after the April tornadoes. Trees and power lines are still down and abandoned homes are still evident in Pratt City. Residents there are in desperate need of a plan to rebuild, and a team of architects from the American Institute has offered a helping hand. They went voluntarily working with Pratt City leaders to develop a master plan for the community.
We had a group focused on housing, for instance, a group focused on transportation and mobility, a group on urban design and architecture, landscape architecture, economic development. So we could hear from the community what the possibilities are for the greater Pratt City.
For more on recovery efforts across the state and how you can help, visit WSFA-RoadToRecovery.com. Many of you enjoyed football, fairs, and cookouts this weekend as temperatures remained very comfortable. But are those any signs of rain in the forecast? Meteorologist Jeff Jumper is tracking those chances in his full forecast coming up next. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. We'll see you right back here at 5 and 10.